Hello and welcome to our channel, Vedic Solutions, under the umbrella of our website, purelyprabhupada.com, and I'm your host, Harinama Chintamani. Thank you so very much for joining us again. We're going to continue in our series, Connecting Lord Jesus Christ to Srila Prabhupada. In our last video, we talked about a very unusual circumstance that happened 500 years ago in India, where a wonderful devotee of the Lord who chanted the holy names almost 24 hours a day, 23 and a half hour for taking care of all bodily necessities and eating, so absorbed he was in the holy names of the Lord. And how because he was born in a Mohammedan family, those who were of that same faith wanted him dead and tried to beat him to death, and yet he lived miraculously. And how the Lord said that he took those beatings upon his body because he prayed for those who were trying to punish him. So we were talking about this image of Lord Jesus Christ upon the cross. And do we know actually what was the internal experience of that great servant of the Lord? Do we actually know? There has been so many changes in the words of Lord Jesus. For example, no one can come to the Father except through me. And we've addressed this before. A pure representative of the Lord would not say such a thing. They might say one would come to the Father only who is of the Father in quality, in mood. Just like if somebody is in a prison house, they've become very rebellious. We're not talking about political prisoners and people who have been put there for the wrong reason. But say somebody has become very rebellious and they've engaged in criminal activities and they're in the prison house. So for them to come back into society, there has to be some reformation of the heart. That is why the Lord comes. That is why his pure representatives come, to help our hearts become reformed, to help us understand that we are not the supreme controllers, the supreme enjoyers. Everything was here before we came. It will be here when we leave. The Lord is also a living being, but he is the one who gives shelter to all living beings. He is the one who created all living beings, and we are the ones under his shelter, right? So that is the position of the Lord, and that is our position. We are servants, and the Lord is master. We don't want to hear that, and therefore we see that in this world, when the Lord's pure representatives come, so often they are attacked. Simply, as Srila Prabhupada said, for preaching the message of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada was also attacked from the inside. There are many still within the organization he established who do not want to accept this very terrible truth. I remember when this was told to me many, many years ago, and I remember that I rejected it. I said, that's not possible. Absolutely not possible. But sadly, it is the case. Srila Prabhupada was assisted to leave this world before he needed to leave. He still had not finished translating the Srimad Bhagavatam, although he was on the 10th canto, and there are 12. And even when he was leaving this body, and he knew what was going on, but he and the Lord, having the perfect arrangement within that they did, just like with Lord Jesus, there's a communication that happens with the Lord's pure representative and the Lord within the heart. We all have that ability to hear the Lord in the heart. That is what it means to become Krishna conscious, Christ conscious, to hear the Lord in the heart, to have a relationship. So Srila Prabhupada was now leaving his body because some poisonous substances had been introduced over a period of time, and he was quite ill, and still he was translating the Srimad Bhagavatam for our benefit. One doctor who was there helping said that no ordinary human being could tolerate that level of pain. So very sadly, Srila Prabhupada was assisted to leave this world in an untimely way. And he was so concerned for the women and the children, what would happen to them. And that was the beginning of the takeover, which it actually wasn't the beginning. It had already started. But from that point on, there was now in place people who were not planning to carry on the mission as Srila Prabhupada desired, but who had their own agenda. So that very day, that very night that Srila Prabhupada left this world, they began their bloody, satanic rituals. I know. I was there. And that was the beginning of the opening of the doors of hell for me that would last many, many years. So I had no memory. My health deteriorated after 10 years of torture and MK Ultra mind control and satanic ritual abuse, all connected with the organization of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That was not what Srila Prabhupada gave his life for. No. The person who had the inspiration to begin this website, purelyprabhupada.com, and who inspired this channel, Vedic Solutions, Srimati Kamra Devi, in deep prayer, when Srila Prabhupada left, she asked the Lord, she asked Srila Prabhupada, what is my service now? And she was told the second generation. These were the children who were targeted. Some of them remember the horrors that they went through, but the majority have no idea how much else they have been through that they don't remember. And then, more recently, in the last few years, she asked again. And Srila Prabhupada, within the heart, asked his dear devotee, please separate my name from all that has been done in my name. When Srila Prabhupada left, there were many disciples, and one by one, they were driven out. They were discouraged in so many ways. I have one god sister in France, highly intelligent, in charge of the Gurukula system, translated for Srila Prabhupada when he came. And she knew Srila Prabhupada. She spent so much time with them, so many stories. She could properly transmit the mood of Srila Prabhupada to others. She was brought before a group of men. She said it was like a prisoner being brought in front of a tribunal. And she was told, you cannot speak. You cannot speak about Srila Prabhupada. You cannot speak to others. How many of you know this? So when Lord Jesus left, how much persecution there was for those who were disciples, right? So there were many things that happened when Srila Prabhupada left. One, which was immediate, is that all the temples were supposed to build very ornate raised seats. Now, when Srila Prabhupada was here, there is a custom that there is a raised seat for one who is speaking the words of Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord, who gave these wonderful literatures in writing, like Srimad Bhagavatam. And so, out of our love for Srila Prabhupada, we wanted to create something very beautiful for him to sit on in our gratitude for what he was giving us. And now, all of a sudden, all the temples were forced to create these ornate seats for rascals who were completely unqualified. And another god sister, another disciple of Srila Prabhupada at that time in 1977, when there were meetings going on and devotees had questions, she was in a gathering in the temple room in LA, and one innocent devotee asked one of these people, who now said they were appointed to be on these raised platforms, appointed to represent Srila Prabhupada, "Do you see God? Have you seen God? Have you seen Krishna?" And so she told me she was thinking that the answer would naturally be, yes, I mean, through Srila Prabhupada's books, I have seen. But that's not what the answer was. The answer was a challenge. The answer were eyes that were fierce and sharp, looking into this person's eyes and saying, "Yes, I have," in a way of, "Do not cross me and do not question me." So it is very natural that when we hear such unsavory topics, our mind wants to find a way that it's not true. I understand that. I don't have that option because I know directly what happened, because I experienced it. And I have listened to many interviews of people who have recovered from satanic ritual abuse and MK ultra government mind control. It takes many, many years to come through. And although we have such a beautiful presentation of the website, and I come before you periodically offering these videos, what it takes for all of us who are recovering our memories in this small group is absolutely on a daily basis Herculean. But we want to give you what Srila Prabhupada has given. It's what he gave his life for. And to separate what he gave from what is now going on in the organization, so that all of you who are seeking God and seeking truth can take advantage of this ancient Vedic wisdom. Uplift your hearts, your souls, your lives, your families, your community, and the entire world. Srila Prabhupada said, if even a small percentage of this world becomes God conscious, the entire world will be saved. So please be a part of that. Please be a part of the uplifting of the entire world. Please take up this path of Krishna consciousness as Srila Prabhupada gave. It is very wonderful. You will feel the blessings in your lives, in the lives of all around you, and you will become a blessing in the world. Thank you so much for listening. Hare Krishna.